I got cut from the team 4 times in 5 years, and that's easy to say. That's a long time. 5 years of training 4, 5, 6 hours a day and going through the anxiety of, am I going to make the team this year? Come up with the physical pain of being sore all the time. And man, I was just thinking about when we walked back in this room, at the end of every practice, we would do what we called circuit. And it was basically 20 or 30 minutes of conditioning hell, just straight through, no rest, just as hard as we could push ourselves. We had guys pass out, throw up. I mean, it was some rough training. And I put myself through that for 5 years, absolutely nothing to show for it, no results, never made the team from it. And Corshawn just asked me, where did the dedication come from? And when I really think about it, I think that my dad, which if you've heard the rest of the story, is technically my stepfather. To me, he's just dad, but, he's got such a sense of responsibility, of duty, of obligation, right? Like, he's the kind of guy that he's not going to miss work unless he's on freaking death's, doorstep. He just doesn't miss work. And I remember him saying when I was growing up, because you got to understand, I was the most anxious kid you've ever met in your entire life. I was a hypochondriac. I thought everything that hurt or felt off was going to kill me. And I was so analytical and detail-oriented, even as a kid, that I would pick up on stuff. Like, if I felt 2% different than I normally did, I was like, oh my God, something's changing. Like, this is a huge problem, right? And I was super anxious, super fearful, just riddled with anxiety about literally everything. I always remember my dad saying, if you don't mind, it don't matter. This too shall pass. It's just simple stuff, but it was stuff that he lived by. It wasn't what he said. It was the way that he modeled what he said. And every time that he felt bad, every time he got sick, he said, well, I could feel bad sitting here getting nothing done, or I could feel bad being productive, enjoying my life and living. And I carried that with me. And so, yeah, I could feel bad about being cut from the team. I could feel bad about injuries. I could feel bad about, there's plenty of stuff to feel bad about. And that's the challenge with life, is that if you look for something to feel bad about, I promise you, I don't care who you are, if you come from a 2-parent background, white picket fence, multiple 6-figure income, there's something that you can be upset about, because life is hard and there's built-in tragedy and defeat and heartbreak in the human experience. That's what it is. And nobody is exempt from that. Freaking Jesus wasn't exempt from pain and persecution. And we run around thinking that we're the victims for sins that we caused. But my point in saying that is that if you look for the negative, you're going to see the negative. And if you look for the positive, you're going to see the positive. If you look for opportunities for growth, you look for opportunities to exercise that commitment, to exercise that dedication, because you're not committed or dedicated just because you're saved. You're committed and dedicated because you act it out, because you exercise the things that you said, right? And I think that's just how I grew up, was seeing that model so brilliant, And even when my parents got sick, my mom was diagnosed with dysautonomia. It's pretty rare autoimmune disease. Dad had cancer twice. My dad, when he got cancer, was more concerned with how me and my mom were handling it than he was how he was. Like, think about that. He was more concerned about me and my mom psychologically than he was concerned about himself physically. It's just a model, And when the most important people in your life are modeling that, it's of no credit of my own what's happening.